Hi guys, welcome back to Ben Trading Cards, and we're gonna have the last part of this video series of Chris Katz explaining the cards of each decks in Chaos Ensuming. So Chris Katz is the creator of this game, and let's start with this extra cards deck. And this one we're already done from part 1 to 5. If you haven't watched it, go ahead to the link and watch from the first part. So, Chris, what is this Abraham? And first, we go to the layout of the card. Why is it different from others? So, yeah, please explain it to
Well,
us, please.
first off, like you said, it's the extra deck. So you could say you have your main deck of 60 cards for standard,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'd have your extra deck where you'd have a limit of 30 cards. And the extra deck you would need for Abraham, you would need one level 1 creature and one level 5 creature to bring him out to the field from your extra deck.
One and then the level 5 here. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So he's going to be stronger. Some of your stronger ones are going to be a level 1 and a level 5.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, I will have level 1, 2s, and 3s bringing into your extra deck and have them properly balanced. At the moment, I have a few extra deck ones that need to be rebalanced far as the restrictions to getting them out onto the field because at the moment they're too tough.
All right. So that is first Abraham and Abraham. All right. And then the next one. Oh, this one is you explained it already, I think. This is your
Dragon of Ashanti.
first KS, right? Correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the card behind it, it involves it. That's why I inquired to show that with it. The Dragon of Ashanti, is essentially the strongest card in the game.
Mm.
So it's a main deck creature, it's a fear creature. The top attribute in the middle says fear. The Fire of Ashanti is more of a secondary card that would go with it. Fire of
Mm-hmm.
Ashanti. So it breathes fire, so you could say it's the Fire of Ashanti. It's not the actual dragon, it's the fire.
Yeah. To
So,
to bring this to the arena, so you need 1 and 5 as well, right?
yeah, you need a level 1 and a level 5.
Okay.
Then the Dragon of Ashanti, as I mentioned, is the strongest card stat wise in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that plays off of that. And then I was doing a test play with a man who is from India. And he told me something that is interesting, which I didn't know of, which I'd like to include into the game just off of ironicness. And apparently, Ashanti in a local language in India, I don't know which local language, it means chaos
Mm.
and disorder. So, obviously, with the game being called Chaos Ensuming, a dragon being statted the highest, being called Ashanti, if it means chaos.
Yeah. Fire of Chaos. Yeah. Makes
Yes,
sense. Nice.
convenient.
Coincidence, sir. No? Okay. There. So this one is right there. So it doesn't have any attributes of a blood or slime, but it's just a separate deck, right?
It's going to be its own fear creature.
Yeah.
You're not going to see Dragon Ashanti. You're the only way you could get it is pulling it from the boosters.
Oh,
I
it's
don't
gonna.
like locking things behind boosters too much, but that's going to be one of those that will be marked in the code as rare, but it will not necessarily be limited as if it was a rare.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have a normal print run so everybody could get it as
Yep.
they are able to, but it would not be like getting a secret rare, ultra rare, or something that's really hidden. That way it can even out because it is a really strong card.
Yeah. So this one is digit.
Dig it.
Oh,
Yes.
dig it.
Yes, yes.
Dig it.
It
Uh-huh.
it is a blood creature that loves to dig into the earth.
Ah, okay. It's a
So
burrower.
Imagine you're going about your daily life in your own English city. You say you're in London or something,
Mm-hmm.
walking around on the cobblestone streets, going to your next bagel shop, getting your crumpets and tea. And next thing you know, this thing pops out of the ground, devours the light pole, and then starts devouring you. Yeah.
From the ground, yeah. Oh man. Okay, so yeah,
There
so
will be a blood deck card that revolves with that card too and shows its death.
mm-hmm. And we have the Arak, the Chaos.
Yes. The first card you showed, Abraham, he is a member of the Knights of Death, which I was just looking over here to get the card to show you. This is one of the favorite cards off of a lot of people. A lot of backers love this card.
Oh, okay.
The
So
Reaper.
so
Death.
is he the same person?
No. This character is essentially one of the lead roles in the Knights of Death. He is not necessarily the lead role. They are more or less working with each other upon mutual bargaining,
Mm-hmm.
but he carries some of the most powerful sway.
Okay.
This character, our Walk of Chaos, it in the extra deck, some of the other cards you have show a younger version of him, an older version of him, and an even more older version of him. This version, since it's ice, I believe this is a young version of him. I'm not positive. I have to see the others to compare them. But he ends up being inducted and persuaded to join the Knights of Death, which end up committing a lot of heinous crimes.
Mm. Okay. Like the Reaper, you mean?
Worse.
Ah, okay. So this one, you need four and two, correct?
No, you
Mm-hmm.
need, okay, the blue you had right. With the blue
Two.
orbs, you always keep them together. The blue orbs stay together.
Mhm.
You could say that the blue orbs are alive and the orbs that are not blue are dead. The dead orbs are separate from each other, so they are
Ah,
separate. So the one that is on the very bottom is a one. So then
yeah.
you have two blue orbs, and then you'd have three
Yes.
orbs.
So you need
The-
three cards. Okay,
yes.
got it.
And that's what I meant as I need to balance a little more,
Mm-hmm.
as that card specifically is inherit. And by inherit, inherit is the only attribute in the game that has an effect. And inherit is essentially when a creature kills a card that has inherit, that creature gains that effect.
Uh-huh.
So if a creature gains this card's effect, then every turn you would have to mill one card at your draw phase,
Mm-hmm.
which
Okay.
is obviously detrimental.
Yeah. Where did you see the inherit?
It's
Oh,
on the
here, here,
attribute.
there. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That is the only attribute that has an effect tied to it.
Okay. There. Next is Ahab.
Ahab, yes. Ahab, let me see if I have the in here. But Ahab is essentially, if I remember right, he is a king. And then a war ends up happening. No, it's not in there. Oh, Warlock's Rebirth, since we mentioned
Mm-hmm.
it earlier.
Yeah.
But Ahab, if I remember correctly, is a king. Something happened during the war. I'm yet to build the lore behind exactly what. But he ends up killing a bunch of his own people, massacring his own army while he's in its ranks. So you imagine way back when the kings would march with the army and they would stay at the
Mm-hmm.
front of the army.
Yeah.
This is the type of army that he's marching with. And then he turns around and starts killing all of his own men, men that he's fought with, men that shed blood with, men that he's shed his own blood for.
Mm-hmm.
And right here, the depiction of the artwork is showing he is on a hill and all this blood is rushing up to him like a flood. And he's holding himself because he regrets everything that he's done and he cannot hold his mental state sane any
Mm-hmm.
longer.
Yeah.
And if you read the lore on the bottom,
Says
it
Ahab will never gain his final name, for his sins have entrapped him in a hell of his own creation.
yes.
Yeah.
So in other words, he is mentally scarred by his own mistakes, by killing his own people, by making such foul wrongs which goes against his own nature. He knew it
Mm-hmm.
was wrong, but he did it for his own pleasure, for his own will, for his own benefit.
Yeah.
Now he's sitting there and he's regretting everything and is rushing to him everything that he's done wrong. And what it means with by his second name, Ahab, it is an example, say, like the man Abraham, biblically. He
Mm-hmm.
was born Abraham. Then, when he was older and he was told he would give a child by Sarah
Mm-hmm.
or Sarai before she was named Sarah, then he was named Abraham or Abrahim or however you
Mm-hmm.
pronounce it.
Yeah.
So, this being said, his name describes him. Each character of his name describes him. So, when he grows older to a certain point, his name would change
Yeah.
and it would describe him to has he changed. So you live with your parents and then you move away from them, and then one day you realize I'm not the same as I was. I've changed. There's something different about me, but what is it? So by then your name has changed,
Mm-hmm.
essentially, in that respects. If you go by old customs.
Yeah. Okay. So you need one and two cards here to unique conjure that. Okay. And then we have Nitrobot. Is
Yes.
this a concept or final art?
That is a final artwork done by the same artist that did the token arts.
Uh-huh. This is Burp
I cannot make it look
Unique
that good in texture.
Mechina. So Mechina. Oh, it's Mechina.
Yes.
It's a strong one. 2,200.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course. Pull it from your extra deck and use three creatures. It better be strong.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Three decks. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Three cards. All right. So
So,
it's a machine.
Nitrobot, remember how I mentioned Gara earlier, how he's a twisted person?
Yeah.
Well, Gara invented this bot with the help of Schmalt,
Lara,
which
he's
is
the
another
one
scientist.
who invented the chicken, right? Not invented, but
He
created
did
the.
that. He captured the chicken. Schmalt worked on the chicken.
Uh-huh.
But Gara and Schmalt worked on this machine. And
Mm-hmm.
essentially, the goal with it was for personal pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, that bot will go on and do glorious things for the health of humanity.
Uh-huh. Okay. So.
I mean, there's a
Ooh.
lot of medical uses you can have for nitrous.
Mm-hmm. And we have the eyes, mother eyes. Oh, mother's
Yes,
eyes.
mother's eye.
So it's linked to, or is this the one with the mother
Yes,
token?
it's
Okay.
related. Yes.
All right. So that's
So
eyes and
one mother tells you that mother was brought about by a child praying for his mother to come back from the dead.
yeah, correct.
And she did. By all means, by God, she came back from the dead. He regretted it.
Oh yeah.
Here it is, it's essentially a warning saying, look away,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct.
like the evil eye.
And this one is Monkey Killer.
Yes, this denotes to more of the theatrics that'll go into the lore where you have coconuts and you have monkeys fighting each
Mm-hmm.
other. So you'll have
Oh,
Tom and Jerry type theatrics
yeah.
where the coconuts are killing the monkeys, stealing their bananas, and
Mm-hmm.
then you have the monkeys killing the coconuts and drinking all their milk.
Yeah. All right. Oh, the chicken. So we have
Yeah.
this before, the token, right? And then,
Eventually, he'll make it into the land of Alcor and he'll meet the samurai Uru.
mm-hmm,
I'll
chicken.
say that since we've seen it twice.
Yeah. You need, so you need three cards as well, yeah. Conjure,
Yes, sir.
unique conjure this one. And wow, this is really nice. I love this kind of art. It's
Doc.
dark.
That is based on a giant bird, but the artist had the inspiration of their own volition to put more than one eye.
Mm-hmm.
But it is based on a realistic bird, at least based on part of,
Uh-huh.
which is very giant. And even in records from the early 1900s, there's records of birds picking up young children, and they pick them up like a turtle, and they drop them from a high height, they drop them and crack them open so they could eat.
Oh man.
So birds that are that big are
Yeah.
very, very dangerous to humans.
Yeah, there's a bird that eats the bone marrow, so uh it will put,
Predatory birds do that.
yeah, then
Eagles
drop
will
it.
do that.
It
If
crack,
an
yeah.
eagle was if an eagle was big enough, it would pick you up and drop you down and eat you.
Uh
Don't get me wrong, it would.
yeah,
It's a predatory bird. It'll eat just about anything.
yeah. So
And that's
that's
what
that
type of bird that is inspired by.
duck. Uh-huh. Ara there.
Yes, that is a younger version of the other.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, as I mentioned with the name just a minute ago, the name is shorter. The
Yeah.
other one I believe was Arao. This one is Ara. So he has changed
Mm-hmm.
because his name has changed. And as you
Yeah.
can see, he is physically younger.
Yeah. Okay, and then these are the souls, correct?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Okay. Then we have um crusher of coconuts. Ah, okay. So this one
Yes.
is for crush the monkey coconut.
That is to kill the coconuts.
Yeah.
The
Ah,
monkey, it is a McKenna support, but it is also monkey support because it uses a effect that revolves around monkeys.
yeah.
So essentially, spiraling is similar to bouncing, except you're sending it to the deck and shuffling.
Yeah.
But with this, you send a monkey creature from your deck, equip it to this card, shuffle your deck, and then the next turn you could go around and shuffle that monkey back to your deck, and then shuffle your deck, and then mill one card, and the other players will have to mill one card. So you can activate that ability once per turn as a McKenna benefit while also benefiting the monkeys. So the
Yeah.
monkeys built a machine that way they could kill the coconuts easier.
Mm-hmm. Ah, crusher of coconuts. Then we have this midget kid.
Yes.
I think I have seen before.
So the other one that you've probably seen is Midget King.
Hmm?
Midget King is a part of the circus, and it goes because the circus, remember, as I said, the lore is based upon realism. So the circus is not clean cut and dry. Oh, this is just a fun circus where people can get their life straight and they can actually earn a living like Smokes has.
Yeah.
No. Midget King, they captured him because he was a midget and they put him behind bars and they used him for money,
Mm.
just like they would do people way back in the day. They would take them and they would take them as a slave and they would make them show for money.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
So essentially, Midget King ends up, the story revolves around showing the detriment of that, showing what's wrong with it. So if there's people that are ignorant to those things that actually happen in the world, they'll learn, oh, this is wrong. Or you
Mm.
have a story where you could show, like, this is why this is wrong. This is things that actually have happened, and you do not want history to repeat.
Yeah.
But the bittersweet part of the story is that Midget King ends up become a Midget King because all the other midgets that were taken in as slaves for the circus, he ends up freeing and they revolt against the circus and being free. Midget Kid is born from Midget King and he passes down his skull to him. And Midget King is not liked by Midget Kid. Midget Kid hates his father
Hmm.
because Midget King hates the circus and he kills them indiscriminately.
Oh.
So there are things that Midget King does wrong because he has been wrong, because he is human. He has done things that are wrong. and because of that, his own son hates him. He loves him, but he hates him at the same time.
Yeah. All right. It's Midget King. Oh, this one is the coconut. There.
Coconut slime.
Coconut slime. Yeah, so the slime um devours the coconut, right?
Sort of. As you
Okay.
see, it has multiple eyes and it has fins.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all know that coconuts do not have fins.
Yeah.
Some do have thorns on their coconuts. Not all coconuts, though.
Mm-hmm.
But because this is a water type, you can obviously conclude that it was on a beach. Coconuts are usually on beaches. The coconut was consumed by a slime that also consumed a fish or two.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a water creature and also a coconut and slime creature. Which, when you get into gameplay, some games will say specifically that a coconut slime creature is completely different from a coconut creature,
Mm-hmm.
or it's completely different from a slime creature. My game is different. As long as it says it's a coconut creature, anything that it implies that it applies to a coconut creature applies to that. So because it has
Oh,
coconut, it's its name and it's its attribute, or not attribute, but its
yeah.
type.
Type. Yeah. So it has
Yeah,
dual
anything
type.
attributes, yes. It has two different types, and anything that applies to those two different types applies to it, so it does not negate anything that would apply in between.
Yeah. Okay. And we have here fire mob,
Fire Moab, yes.
like
That is a
robot,
machine,
machine. Yeah.
yes. There, remember Mr. Green and Mr. DMT that I brought up?
I forgot DMT. I know Mr. Green. Yeah.
Oh, not Mr. DMT, that's a different character. I haven't shown you that yet. Mr.
Okay.
Green and Mr. Stone.
Oh
Mr.
yeah, I
Stone was
know
the
Mr.
one on
Stone.
a
Yeah.
different planet.
You showed me
Yes.
already. Yeah.
Those are two of the four generals on that one planet, on their own planet. Well, Mr. Stone and Mr. Green are generals,
Mm-hmm.
and they essentially keep peace on four different vectors of their planet. So you take, say you take Earth, and you look on and you split it into four pieces. Each of those four pieces are controlled by the four generals,
Mm-hmm.
and then they are regulated by the Council of Eldars. So the elders would rule over the generals and make sure they keep peace, because the generals,
Ah.
they have completely different personalities, they hate each
Yep.
other. But there were wars from some unknown entity that brought a bunch of different war machines and caused a lot of death, chaos, and havoc. This Fire Moab is one of those machines that came out of nowhere and is killing civilians,
Mm.
is killing random people. You're just living on in your life. You're going to bed at night. You just got home from work. You're laying down with your wife. She's mad at you and won't do nothing with you because she's pissed at you about something you did yesterday. And next thing you know, your house is burning down and you're trying to save your kid's life because she's already dead.
Mm. Okay.
So it's something upon that manner. Something just random came in. It's like a real war.
Yep.
Real war doesn't start like, okay, we're going to start the war in two
Yeah.
days now. No, no. People are
Just
dying.
yeah. Correct. Oh, this one is looks like a spider, right?
Yes, sort of. Damina Kaba. I forget what Damina means. I mean, I believe it
Maybe.
has something to do with being possessed.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how I mentioned about Vlad the Impaler, how there was an inspiration upon that in the story?
Um, I forgot about that.
Dracula. Dracula.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Dracula.
Yes.
Yeah, correct.
But there is an inspiration of Vlad the Impaler, which inspired Dracula, and essentially he lives in the deserts of Ra'an, and
Mm-hmm.
he is exiled from everybody else because he's like a vampire.
Yeah.
And he loves to experiment with creatures. These blood creatures interest him. He can't be controlled by the Spectre because he's a vampire. It wouldn't make sense for the blood to control him.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make sense to throw a vampire in to say that The vampire is bemused at why this blood is killing everything and not listening to him.
Hmm. Yeah.
Why he takes it, he eats from it, and it doesn't taint him, but it taints something else. So he puts it to other creatures. Say, like with this, he put it to a spider,
Yeah.
and next thing you know, the spider is just all wonk.
On its own.
Yeah, it's like Metal
Ah.
Gear Solid on him or something.
All right. And then this spider has like eggs
Yes,
on the
well, a
belly.
spider lays eggs. So I
Yeah.
mean,
And this one here,
yes,
a rock.
that is the eldest of the Arak. Of
Mm-hmm.
Ara, you have Ara,
Yeah.
you have Ara, you have Ara, and then you have Arak. So you have goes your youngest to eldest. Ara was frozen in ice when he
There.
was discovered
Mm-hmm.
by the Knights of Death. Then it goes in between when he's being tainted and being taught by them. Arak is when he is fully and utterly consumed by their goals and their compassions.
Mm. So it's like the highest level of Arak.
Yes.
And okay, head of two, the last one.
That devolves back to the concept art where you have um forgive me anybody watching, but it's a Doro Binico.
Ah.
It evolves back to that story
Mm-hmm.
where the man, Doro Binico, he is unfaithful, he is a homewrecker. He goes to a woman's house, he bows to her, she welcomes him in, and she is persuaded to his own interests.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, her husband, which is an older man, she's younger, which is common in those days, he is a rice worker and he works in the fields. And then goes to work. He works for the day. He goes to unload his last stack of rice to dry it out. And his boss says, "You don't need to. You could do it tomorrow," or the likes. And so he goes home before the sun sets, unlike usual.
Mm-hmm.
Or usually the sun sets and he's already going home. He works. He's a laborer. He's hard labor. So he works horribly. He goes home and he sees this man with his wife, Dorobinico. So he takes his right hand and cuts both of their heads off.
Ah. So this is the head of two.
Yes. And the
Ah.
only reason that the creature comes back, I will not go back into how they come back and why the creature that came back's head is cut off. But the reason they came back is not because he did something wrong. By all means, he didn't,
Mm-hmm.
because he was the one being betrayed. An oath was given to him. If you look by that, you say an oath is an oath that is you take a creature, you take an animal, you eat it with amongst each other, and if that oath is broken, you kill the one that broke the oath.
Uh-huh.
Essentially, that
Yeah.
is the old idea of taking an oath. And a part of marriage is saying that you give an oath to this person that you'll be faithful to them, that you'll be with them, and you know, all that jazz. So essentially, because that oath was broken, the blood is tainted and that creature came
Yeah.
back with the
Uh,
soul of those two.
so this is the what was that?
That's
Binico
the man and the woman.
and the woman. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Ooh, that was so gruesome with the head. All right. So I guess that's everything for now, and thanks for explaining it to us and everything.
No
At
problem.
least it's clear to me a little bit, not a little bit, but more, probably 80%. I need more knowledge about this.
It'll take a
So,
lot of time to get the comics out, so everything being traditional.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Um, so I think this part will be spread all for about 5 parts, and then I will spread it for the whole week. Oh no, not week, but a month probably. Maybe once a month
Put it
we
how you
can.
need.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
All right, so I'm gonna do a an outro. So, all right, guys, we learned some of the cards, and probably there will be more cards coming, and also we're gonna guest Chris Katz in the next videos. So, yeah, thank you so much, Chris, for explaining it to us, and thank you guys for watching.
It's my
And
pleasure.
see you in the next video. Bye, guys.
Yes, sir.